Hi everyone, welcome to another PGPX Speaker Series session here at IIM Ahmedabad. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today. We have with us Mr. Gopendra Bahadur, VP of Revenue and Country Finance Lead for Shell India. Thank you so much for being here, sir. It's a pleasure to host you.
Thank you very much, Adi, and it's a real pleasure to be here. Great pleasure and honor to be here in IIM Ahmedabad.
Great. Over the next few minutes, I was hoping to have a chat with you on certain topics which would be of interest to you and which will benefit our viewers significantly. Firstly, it's about the energy transition trends across the world and in India specifically. Specifically, advances in energy storage, distribution, the need for organizations to be more holistic solution providers, and of course, the push towards renewables. At an industry level, what are your thoughts about this, and how do you think these will shape up over the next decade?
One of the interesting stuff which is happening on energy transition, I will say, is there's a lot of focus on carbon, on how do we get to a target of eliminating carbon, considering the environmental sensitivities around it. Shell has a target to eliminate, in fact, to become a net zero organization by 2050. And if I look at from a country context, India also has taken a target under the leadership of Prime Minister to become by 2070 a net zero country. It's a massive stuff, the transformation which is coming in. So I think that is a huge thing which is coming in. But also I think along with the recent crisis in Europe with the Ukraine war, etc., one other theme which is popping back up again is around the supply security. How do we ensure that we continue to have enough amount of energy available for the country's needs, and that has become a very, very important theme now, which is playing on is around supply security. So there is one is how do we reduce the net amount of carbon emission which are happening, but balancing that with that we still continue to need a lot of energy for ensuring the supply security for the country, like India, but also to ensure that we give energy to people who don't have energy today, because there is a huge amount of population globally which also does not have any energy today, and for them it's a huge thing just to have the energy available. So we need to make sure that energy availability is also a important theme playing out. So these are the two trends which are coming up quite a lot in recently, and there's no easy solution around it, and we all in the industry are grappling with it.
That's actually quite interesting. So meeting the net zero emissions both at an organization and country level, and making sure we secure a supply of energy and getting it to all of those in need of it. So I think those are some trends that all of us will keep an eye on. My next question is about technology. So leveraging technology is no longer an option for any industry. So specifically in oil and gas or energy itself, where do you feel technology can make the biggest impact over the next few years?
I think technology, if I look at really, technology is going to be the biggest enabler for us to move towards the net zero path of the ultimate vision which Shell is having, and also from an organization perspective. And technology can play a huge role, and I'll give examples like we are looking into how do we extend the shelf, the life of a well which is producing oil and gas. How do we extract maximum from it? Technology plays a huge role in it. We are also looking into stuff like how do we use some of the things around drones, around wherein earlier human presence was required. How do we take away the human presence and make it much more safer to operate in that particular environment? So physical things. Technology in a sense is also being driven by a lot of usage of data analytics now in terms of more predictability. How do we improve using the data and analytics and the data which we get to drive certain analysis which is helping us to become much more efficient in the whole energy extraction and the whole transition world. So I think technology is playing a huge role there as well. Of course, there are new technologies which are coming in and which we all are familiar with in terms of renewables, the power space, the new things which are coming, which were a couple of decades back was thought of impossible. That whole evolution is also happening in parallel. So technology is playing a massive role, and Shell in India has got a big technology center in Bangalore, which plays a huge role globally in the way that technology delivery is happening across all countries. and some of the best and the brightest of Indian engineers are involved in that. So I'm really proud of that Shell is able to support that sort of an ecosystem. And overall, the technology landscape for Shell is very much enriched by presence of Indian engineers in Bangalore as well, Bangalore and Chennai as well.
Thank you for sharing that. That was extremely insightful and very heartwarming to know that tech has been ingrained in Shell also. My last question actually combines the previous 2 points that we've discussed. Knowing that the environment is a bit uncertain and dynamic, the kind of skills that people need to thrive in such organizations might be very different today to what it was 5-6 years ago. So when you hire from these schools or otherwise, what are some key skills and traits that you look for in people across functions like finance, operations, and others?
Yeah, so some of the traits I will say have remained unchanged. Some of them are around the ability to do problem solving, ability to communicate. Those kind of skills continue to remain as it were. So it continues to play an important part of it. But I think, and I'll take an example of finance now, just to highlight is that now this is not only about the analysis, about the how we do stuff or doing accounting. It's also now about telling the story. So that's the new softer skill which is playing in a lot more now. So when we are looking at candidates, we are also looking at some of the things around how they are able to provide insights and able to communicate with our business partners in a way which makes them a lot more effective in terms of delivery of outcomes. Now it has become a lot more of that. So I think some of those skills are now evolving, a lot more focus on the softer skills, ability to make interventions, ability to say your viewpoints in a meeting full of, let's say, more senior people. Those are the kind of things which are a lot more in prominence now. So I think the more we are able to get in on those lines, it will be a lot more helpful. And I think some of the places like graduates from Ahmedabad, they excel in some of these things. And I'm really glad that from here we are seeing such kind of candidates coming through who are making progress towards that. But really, it's an important part is not just knowing the stuff, but also able to convince the businesses about whatever you are proposing and why you are proposing, and the way you put it out has become a lot more important.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure those who watch this will actively work towards developing these skills. It was an absolute pleasure interacting with you, and we hope to learn a lot more from you while you're here in campus.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me here, and looking forward to the engagements.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll see you again with another session shortly.